Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League. We are coming at you with Week 2 of the Play-In stage, where we are about to determine one of our final two teams to make it into the playoff bracket. It is going to be SDC Death Cards taking on Virtue Gaming Unity. A matchup between the two Ionian lower seeds that are still left here in the bracket. One of them going to be ending their ADL journey here tonight, the other going to be moving on to those playoffs. My name is Gordo. I'm joined tonight by Gigatron, and Gigatron, I'm getting ready to see these teams take to the Rift and get started.
Same, man. I am super excited just because of the fact that, again, yeah, it's the bottom seeds here basically going off. They're trying to figure out who is going to get eliminated here and who goes on, and I'm really excited for the fact that, I don't know, I know what Death Cards came in late, I believe, correct, of the season, and they did pretty good so far. I mean, they're not eliminated immediately, so like some of the other teams, but they're definitely providing a lot where I am looking at maybe it could have gone towards them. I had a really hard decision, I think, today choosing between Virtue and Death Cards because I kind of liked a lot of what Death Cards is bringing throughout their games, but I also know Virtue has been very consistent for the most part, so...
Yeah, and these teams are really, really close, at least, looking at their standings coming on in. Both have 8 and 9 game records, although that leaves SDC at 3 and 4 total, 4 and 3 for the side of VGU. Is SDC going to lock on in that Zeri as their first pick? This has been one that Cabanese has taken quite a liking to. He's played 5 games of it already, which, given its ban rate, pretty impressive to get on through. You know that they are prioritizing this champ super highly wherever it's up, and this game going to be no exception. Up to VGU to decide how they want to respond.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would just, you could always pick up your ADC and your support here at this point, or maybe grab your mid laner or flex pick. We'll see what they do with that.
A very early Vigar coming on in here from VGU, and they're definitely a team that's willing to try out new things. Their number of champions played way higher than you usually see. They got a whole bunch of champions that they've played kind of one game on and then either left to the side or, only pull out specific scenarios. Hard to really know how deep their pools at any given week really runs, but they definitely are willing to pull out a variety of champions. This Vigar going to be the latest one. Not sure if it's going to be going towards that bottom lane or that mid lane. They've played it once for Arch in the bottom lane, have never put it on quality player in the mid lane. Oh, definitely an interesting one. This may be their bot lane already locked on in. It is considered a counter pick to the Zeri. Can kind of scale up alongside it and really put a stop to a lot of the mobility shenanigans she brings to the table, as that's going to be Shyvana locked in for the SDC Death Cards.
I liked it because Shyvana's kind of like Gangplank. You can like run like 4 different builds on her and she still works. Like there's 2 different tank builds of tank AD or tank AP. You also have just full burst between both that you can play, and they're very obviously niche, when it comes to AD as to when it's going to work most likely. But yeah, I can see a lot of bursts coming out of her, and I'm loving it. And we have a Thresh pickup.
All right, the Thresh and the Shyvana coming on in here. WH Turtle does love to get himself on a little bit of Thresh. The Shyvana has not been an uncommon pick for Cinebu either. They've picked it a couple of times already this split. So, gotta be going for a really kind of hard farming, hard scaling style, at least with their first rotations. The Zeri and the Shyvana, both gonna be super strong team fighters later on. Suspect that it's gonna be the Shyvana in the jungle, by the way, but can't dismiss the possibility of a Shyvana in the top lane. We did get to see a little bit of that in the LCS earlier this season, so I like to hold out hope that we might get to see it over here in the ADL as well, as that's gonna be a Zillion locked on in for VGU. Presumably for the mid lane, quality player has busted it out there once already. But, with this Vigar and the Zillion, this is a pretty AP-heavy first rotation. You got to expect that there's going to have to be a strong AD force coming in from the jungle and or the top lane to really be able to offset this.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it. I like the Zillion pick. It's really strong. Could definitely boost up anyone, really. Especially if you have the fact of potentially a Predator Vigar running through. Can you just imagine how crazily fast he's going to go on top of having, say, Nautilus just have, like, Atrelius? Not that he would, but, like, just a bunch of moose feet on their team, like just barreling down, ready to go at him. Like Zeri is not gonna be able to run away. So I like that. That's a spicy idea, but I feel like they're not gonna pull that out.
You know, it's not gonna happen, but take a second to think about it though. I mean, that's
Right.
kind of fun, right? That's your entertainment for the night. As the Malphite and the Aatrox ban's gonna come on through. I like seeing SDC try to ban out, some of these mid-range carry top laners like the Aatrox, ones that are going to be safe to blind pick, but also going to fulfill that supposed gap in the team composition. The Tryndamere is the other one I was going to mention there. The Tryndamere and the Aatrox, you feel comfortable blind picking them in this current meta and not expecting to see too much harsh punishment. Now that they're off the table, you still want to go for that AD jungle top. They're going to go for the jungle this time around, the Viego, really the first one that comes to mind. So that's going to be locked on in with them able to save top lane for the very end. Also like the Malphite ban from VGU on the opposite side, it's pretty clear that they want AD top side, so that Malphite being taken off the board early on at least stops that blind pick from coming through. Curious to see, though, if Rary is going to go for another tanky top laner. He's a big fan of that Tom Kench. It is still available.
Yeah, Tom would be a good one. Orange is always another possible idea for a good tank pick here, but looks like they're picking Kai'Sa mid.
All right, Kai'Sa mid is definitely an exciting one that we have not gotten to see too much of so far this season. And the Dr. Mundo top, so it is going to be a top lane tank, just not the one that maybe we were 100% expecting. Like to see this one, though. It's probably going to be strong into whatever VGU want to go for. VGU now probably going to still want that AD strong top laner. The Camille is what comes to mind, although that's already been banned away, so forget that I said that. But, Wild Terry, maybe the Jax could be an option. The Gangplank, another one. Graves, some of the other selections. But the Jax is going to end up being the lock-on in. So, nice little pair of melees to run at them with the Zillion speed up and to benefit the most from the CC that the Vigar and the Nautilus are going to be laying on down. And really like seeing a reset champion like this Viego paired up with the Vigar to be able to get those resets just a little bit faster, burst somebody out, and start getting your team fight started the right way.
Exactly, and that's where I look at it, especially with the Vigar being bought there at Nautilus. You have a really good lane to gank very easily. I feel like, even though Thresh is someone that can display usually a lot of people, excuse me, they are, you have Thresh who can definitely flay, hook people away in the box. You have Zeri who could kind of just zoom away if she needs to, especially with the lightning crash once she starts building up those charges. But yeah, I definitely like a lot of the Viego. The Viego will work very well with them, I think, especially if you can get just that movement speed like you talked about on any of them. It's gonna be great. So she put it on Jax. Jax just goes into team fight. You already have Counter-Strike primed up and ready to go. Like it just feels like it's a doomsday device right there for death cards.
Yeah, for sure. And really like the scaling that death cards are bringing to the table here. We talked about Zeri Shyvana already after that first rotation. Have a Kai'Sa as well. Going to be stronger and stronger as she gets more AP built up later. And there's not great responses to this poke coming in from VGU. You can speed up the Nautilus or somebody to try to get a fight started, but pretty short range all in all, it feels like. This Viego and this Jax are going to be some of those primary damage sources, along with the Vigar too, looking to burst people out. But they're not going to be playing in ranges where you can just kind of click a button and go on this Kai'Sa. It's going to be a little bit tougher for them to really find the angles they're looking for, especially through this big, strong front line of Shyvana and Dr. Mundo. So I like that they kind of force VGU to come into them to deal with this poke Kai'Sa. And then once they're doing that, that's really where the Zeri can thrive, where she can try to find a way to get some of her shots off, where she can come around for flanking angles along with the Shyvana and such, and as long as that Vigar cage doesn't trap her, she'll be able to get the performance that she's looking for. This team comp really is kind of, at least the first rotation, is kind of built from the ground up to stop that Zeri, though. So it's going to be a tough way to play, at least for SDC, barring, their Capanese in the bottom lane getting set really, really far ahead, or just super outplaying the VGU squad.
I mean, they could. It's just something that, again, I look at. It's probably very hard to do when you have that lineup of the Vigar and the Nautilus. Hooks are great. I know from both sides. You have the cage that can come out pretty much from Vigar there. You have Zillion, who again could just speed down, throw some bombs, get that double bomb off, get the stun, and that's where I like, I think, a lot of Virtue, just because they have a little bit more consistent hard CC, where you see a lot of poke coming out from death cards, which is still good. I mean, you have to look at Shyvana, definitely going to poke with Dragon Form, with her Dragon Breath there. You have Kai'Sa, who could come out with a Void Seeker. Zeri's just going to be zooming around, just trying to auto attack as much as possible. So yeah, I look at, they have some pretty decent poke, but can that poke burn through the rest of Virtue Gaming?
Yeah, and you know, to set up for these teams a little bit, really exciting to see them face off against each other for one of these final spots in the playoffs. They were so close to one another in their group in the regular season, and now off the back of a SDC win in round 1 over Stevens Law Gray and a loss from VGU to Grin Prism, they are coming back on in to face each other one final time to decide who is actually going to end up making it through to those playoffs. They did meet, of course, once in the regular season back in week 5. VGU ended up winning that series 2-1. But now the stakes are much higher. It's a different meta. Everybody's gotten more time to play together and familiarize themselves with what it's like to play with one another. So definitely going to be an interesting rematch to keep our eyes on. Was super close the first time around. Hope that it's going to be that way. Number 2 tonight.
I hope so as well. I mean, this is something that I'm very excited for both teams. Again, Japanese and Arch. I'm really watching that lane, I think, the most.
Yeah, for sure. Going to be an exciting one. We're going to throw into a quick break here while we get loaded into the Rift for game number 1. But don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with every bit of the action in tonight's series between the SDC Death Cards and Virtue Gaming Unity. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League. We are here for our second and final week of the play-in stage, determining who the final teams making it through the playoffs are going to be. And starting right off, Itchy Rat tries to make a little dredge line play happen there, going for the Team Liquid Classic, trying to make the hook happen here very early on, going to get Shredman's flash out of there, but not going to claim any resources over for his team.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fine. I mean, hey, you know what? You burn a flash, you're able to get that priority in mid. That way Zohair can probably go and get that gank off like he wants to, get that priority on a quality player, get him that extra little, you know, love for a little bit, and then probably go towards that bot side there with Vygar, just try to get them ramped up and going, because like you said, this is kind of scaling bot versus scaling bot, and you know, since they do have more of that scaling team coming out from death cards here, I would like to see that, hey, it gets punished maybe potentially from kind of that early game of Zohair and Quality.
Yeah, and Quality can, if he finds opportunities to do so, super hard to do it on the Zillion, but if he trades early on, he's got the teleport, Shredman doesn't, so he can afford to be a little bit more liberal with his usage of his health bar. You know, take maybe some unfavorable trades, knowing that you stack up over time. Eventually, you can recall, you can come back to lane with the teleport. Shredman not going to have that luxury due to the selection of the Ignite and the absence of Flash, going to really make that an even bigger risk, knowing that he doesn't have that escape opportunity. You know, on the bottom lane, Itchy Rat, though, taking a lot of damage early on from Capanese and Turtle. Going to be going down to about half HP. As Terry hits level 2 first in the top lane, he's taking some damage on to Rary here. So everybody going full on, trying to make some plays happen in this early game. Another hook lands in the bottom lane onto Itchy Rat. Itchy going to have to play very careful here. He's almost going down. Doesn't have the flash to escape. Going to have to hide back out under that turret. Will stay alive. He's chugging through all of his potions, though, at just 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, and as we see this kind of top lane combat going on right here, it's just not even a wet noodle fight. It's just an all-out brawl, it feels like, just between, you know, Jax beating down with his just champion's trophy there, as well as the fact that he's just able to essentially trade back with all those meat cleavers coming out from Rari. Rari's just keep himself alive, and you gotta love it that, hey, a tank is still surviving against a bruiser.
Gigatron, I hate to break this to you, they're bone saws now. He doesn't throw cleavers.
Yeah, that's right, bone saws. Yeah, no, okay. Whatever. I'm sorry that I'm old and, like, reminiscing a little bit of some of the champion abilities and everything. But anyways, Itchy Rat, a little bit more healed up right now, trying to take out Capanese here, but definitely realizes, hey, something's fishy here, as this Itchy Rat is kind of itch. Get that hook out.
Definitely wants to. He's got the Hex Flash, too, so he can still kind of close that gap and make a play happen. He's just not going to have a good pathway back out. He's gone for the Glacial Augment and not the Aftershock, so he's not going to get tankier after getting that CC on out. He's going to make his teammates take a little bit less damage, sure, but not really going to be able to survive. It's Zeri chasing him on down, getting those burst fires on through. So, gonna have to play it a little bit safer for the time being, so he can get Zohair down here to try to get some plays started. Otherwise, though, this is how we expect this bottom lane to go. They're both carries just kind of want to farm it on out. That's the point of picking the Vygar into this. Lets you just take some time, stack on up your passive, get a whole bunch of AP, and deal with the Zeri that way later on.
Exactly, because the idea is you're hoping that you can get that scaling going on equality, as well as to Wild Terry, hopefully that they could get themselves ramped up going these fights a little bit better. Shredman is going to have his flash up shortly here, so this way he can go in for that little bit more of an engage, especially with those Halo Blades and the fact that he does have Ignite up, and Quality really doesn't have a lot of mana right now.
He does not. He's spent a whole bunch of it. Clearly this wave. He does have a couple cookies in the inventory, can use that to regen his mana, and also still has the teleport. As Shredman's flash has come back up, Itchy's has as well, so nothing ends up coming of that early level 1 play. Itchy, though, maybe going to have to expend it again real soon. Does find himself face-to-face with 3 members, goes in for the hook, lands it onto Capanese, who just can't get out of the chain CC. The baby cage doing a whole bunch of work there from Arch, and first blood goes to Vygar in the bottom lane.
You call it baby cage, I call it big cage, because that was a big play right there. Come on, like, you gotta look at the fact that you have that going. Ooh, Terry.
Yeah, Terry finding a chance to fight Rary here, but picking up the passive, getting a whole bunch of health back, just running at this Jax. Rary coming out on top there. You know, this was his selection blind, but he's really ended up coming out on top up against this Jax. This is what you pick him for, to be able to really bully out onto a whole bunch of lanes regardless of what they pick into you, and this is not really one of the premier Mundo counters, more picked for scaling and for team composition rather than anything else.
Well, I mean, it is corporate Mundo. He is wanting to work on Saturdays and file your taxes, but clearly he's not doing that right now. He's getting beat down, and Cinny Boy.
Yeah. Oh, this is a fish for the stun. Not going to land it, although I like the creative approach there from Quality to try to land it. But now Zohair might be getting bitten for it. That's going to be the chase down from Shredman. The Resurrect comes on through from that Chrono Shift, but now he's going to find himself in the middle of two members. Bombs coming on through to run interference. Zohair will manage to escape. Quality player doing a good job of supporting his jungler in his efforts, but not really going to gain any advantages for it. Otherwise, Zohair going to have to expend the flash and still falling farther and farther behind Shredman's Kai'Sa in the mid lane.
Exactly, and that's where, again, I think you have to look at, like, Kai'Sa is really good to CS, where it's going to hurt Quality that little bit for a while, but once Quality gets a little bit more EP going, he'll be able to kind of stack those bombs out a little bit easier, get that more efficiency for when it comes to wave clear. So, again, this is a scaling game technically on both sides, so it's just really getting to that mid to late game. We'll see when people start popping off more.
Yep, first dragon going to be claimed for the side of VGU, so they at least have that one. As Itchy going for a play in the mid lane, the slow not going to guarantee the dredge line hit. Flash blown by Shredman here. He actually manages to get hit by both bombs, so he takes a whole boatload of damage, is down to about half HP. It's Terry and Rary going back and forth here. That's going to be a great pair of names to say all series long, by the way. But Terry looking to be the king for round number one. Going to force that flash out of Rary in the top lane. Ultimate's blown by both parties, but that's a W for Mr. Wild Terry for the VGU side.
Yeah, it is. Wow. Wild Terry just doing a lot here. Rari, unfortunately, getting beaten down so much. I think it'll just have to look at it again. It's just that trophy, man. That trophy is just really good there, trying to get everything. But
ooh, hook landed once again on the turtle, actually. And that's the one shot, you know, that's a whole boatload of damage onto the Thresh. Full combo from the Vigar. Already has the first blood gold from earlier on. And just demolishes Turtle in that bottom lane. 2-0 now for the bot lane of VGU.
Yeah, and this is where, again, they're trying to get that scaling going on to Arch. Arch is just getting such farther and farther ahead. If we actually do a check right now, he's got 66 on his passive right now. So he's stacking well, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of AP to have at 8 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. He's loving it. Being 2-0 as well, just gonna get him to those item thresholds faster. Double stun from Quality player in the mid lane. Chunks Cineboo pretty low. Zohair not really equipped to follow up and try to finish it off, but that's another bomb landed on a Shredman. You know, that's the hard part of playing the Zillion, is A, last hitting with your auto attacks, which is like impossible, and B, landing the bombs. And so far, Quality player has done a good job of accomplishing both. Rari getting chunked out once again by Terry here. He's got the Executioners early on. He's got the Sheen, and those are the only two tools he needs to really be bullying this Mundo. Zohair.
It ain't over yet.
Yeah, no, he's chasing onto Rari. Thought it might be over, but Rari is just a little bit too far up. Zohair going to be able to chase him down. That's a solo kill, actually. Terry doesn't get his name on it, but Zohair feeling pretty good. Gets that kill gold and denies Rari pretty much this whole wave of CS. It's going to come crashing on in the top lane, and he still doesn't have TP.
Yeah, still doesn't have TP, and that's really bad for him just because of the fact that, yeah, even though you could get up there maybe a little bit faster with your masochism, it's just really not worth it to do that. So, but I do have to look at that again, just Wild Terry. Ooh, even trade again now on City Boy.
Yeah, Cineboo taking a whole bunch of damage there. Not quite tanky at this point, and he's really getting chunked on out by that full Jax combo. A little bit of a level lead, a little bit of an item lead for Wild Terry, going to be pushing him in that direction. I'm sure that Cineboo is sitting on a whole boatload of gold right now, but you know, getting chunked out there, not going to be able to hold the wave too effectively. Just going to claim the XP that he can as Rari returns back to the top lane.
Yeah, unfortunately, Daryl here putting out that Sandby is he didn't get that quite the hook he was looking for there onto Vigar. But you know, it's fine. It happens. You know, you win some, you lose some. But yeah, definitely liking a lot of what's coming out of this bot side, and the fact that again Zohair is just able to kind of be a presence now across the map too, getting that gank up on that top side, being there on the bot side to help him out too. It's just really beneficial. Ooh, double bomb maybe? No.
Not quite getting it. As long as Shredman doesn't run directly into it, he'll be fine. And he is going to avoid doing just that. Take a little bit of damage, but the trade continues. Manamune finished very early for Shredman here. Is forfeited. Going for the boots is forfeited. Going for anything early on, really. In fact, either he started with the tier or he sold his starting item. I'm not sure entirely which one, but
I believe he had tier.
All right, well there we go. So hasn't sold anything at the very least, but you know, no boots, no starting items, no nothing. Just looking to get onto that Mirror Mana as quickly as he can. Terry getting chased on down now by Rari and Cineboo. Cineboo does have that ultimate flash from Terry, going to get him out of dodge. He pops the ultimate as well for a little bit extra resistances, and he will escape.
Big Cage comes out right now.
No lockdown onto Capanese, who is just going to be able to grab that lantern and get out of dodge. Dredge line blown for cleanse. Now here comes a jungler, Zohair, trying to make a little play happen, throws down his E, doesn't have it to chase actually, throws it onto the wrong wall, but Turtle gonna get chased down anyway, will get picked on up for the first kill of the fight. Capanese going to flash away, Quality Player is here as well, throwing on through the bombs. Not gonna lock down onto this is Airy, but one man down, four men pushing in the bottom lane. That's going to be the Rift Herald thrown in the top lane to try to rush down this first turret. First turret gold does go to Cineboo in the top lane, but a lot of CS getting missed here in bottom. A lot of turret plates going down here as well. Terry going to show up to try to save the top lane inner turret. Ooh, that's another stun landed. Capanese, he's down. That's the ultimate. Arch, killing spree. Manages to catch Capanese sleeping once again with the help of that Event Horizon.
And we don't even have a Zoe in this game. It's just like, it's crazy that he's just able to do so much here for Arch. He's just kind of just scaling well. It kind of feel like we're watching Jinx right now, because like Jinx early just starts popping off like crazy. It's the same feel I have here for Arch and this Vigar, and I am loving the crap out of this just because, again, he and Itchy Rat did a really good duo down here. It's definitely punishing this area where, like you said, they've picked it 5 times. And now it just feels like, unfortunately, it's something that's getting very hard countered here at this point.
No, they've picked it 5 times, but Arch has picked them now 3 times. Continuously landing the Event Horizon stuns, picking up free kills for it. Every time he lands it, seems to guarantee a kill for the team. And so far, they've been donating these over to the Vigar more often than not as well. So he's getting more AP. He's getting more items early on. He's the first one on the map to get the Mythic done. Capanese has completed his as well, of course, but definitely still not in a position to take these one-on-ones. That's going to be a nice hook. Landed from Itchy Rat, gets it at the maximum range, and now the Chain CC comes through, and Shredman going to try to escape with the Killer Instinct. Goes for that ultimate, goes for the flash as well, and does get himself far enough away, but Itchy lands himself another Dredge line, and now Cineboo is the next target. Turtle coming in here to bail him out and try to get a little bit of additional CC. That's a big Flame Breath coming on through to knock Quality Player's health bar just a little bit lower, but the disengage comes through successfully from the side of VGU.
Yeah, I mean, VGU is just still performing very well. They are getting that lead ever so more for themselves. Only slightly, though. It's only 1.3 in the gold aspect. They did get 2 Drakes now, and they are, unfortunately, losing a little bit out just because of the fact that they had that extra plate gold still going over to Cineboo there, as well as he did get that Rift Herald first, so... Oh.
Lockdown onto Turtle here. You know, even if you don't land the Event Horizon stun, if Turtle has no way out, you're going to get a whole boatload of damage onto him, and you're going to guarantee those Nautilus stuns, which might as well be getting caught up in the cage anyway. Zohair picks up that kill, gets his 3rd of the game, 7-0 for VGU in this game number 1, although Terry might be becoming the first death of the game for the squad. Teleport is being channeled, though they want to take this fight. Rari going to be forced to flash away. There's the Dragon's Descent to try to get Terry on out of there, but Terry going to dive back on in with the Chrono Shift on top. It is going to time on out, but he manages to get the Resurrect off in time. Respawning now, diving onto Rari, has so much more HP, is going to maybe survive with the help of that Mastery, and in fact does do so. 2 kills going on over to VGU, still 0 for the SDC death cards.
that was played perfectly. As I'm gonna try and make this quick as something might happen down here, but yeah, it is just great. You had a great TP come out of a quality player there, got a lot of those bombs out as needed, and just was really good layering there. I mean, you had again just the Chrono Shift go out that again really kind of set that more pivotal to the aspect of making sure that Rari's gonna go down. You had Sinibu go down as well, and yeah, this is just something that again with their layering and teamwork, again, you have 3 teleports on this team. So they're going to be around the map as much as possible, as often as possible. So they're playing this very well.
Definitely are, and they're very happy about it. So much going into the pockets of VGU now. They are 4K ahead at 16 minutes. They've got both dragons. They're going to certainly be thinking about getting themselves on a soul point here. Recall being channeled by Turtle. Capanese still in base. It looks like they aren't trying to challenge this. They're just going to give away third dragon. They probably have to because of how far behind they are. But, you know, this is not going to leave a lot of room for error come third dragon time. This is very likely going to be an Ocean Soul if they can't manage to put the tools together to stage themselves a team fight in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, this third Drake definitely going over here to VGU. Again, they are just I wouldn't say steamrolling, but they are definitely rotating well. They are just amped up and doing so much right now.
Oh, here comes the hook coming in from Itchy. Nice catch there, once again by Arch. And there's going to be the hook from Zohair. Showing a little bit of Thresh mastery there, too. Not going to be able to turn it into anything, though. Capanese going to manage to stay alive with one member down, 5v4 on the map. Sinibu doing his best to steal away resources. He's got a good CS lead, but what does it even mean when Shredman just getting chunked out there by Arch? Arch fired off the ultimate there, too. Wasn't quite enough to finish off the Kaisa, but now chunked low as well. Terry now coming in for the collapse here onto Sinibu, but who's collapsing on who? As the Mundo's coming in right behind him. It's going to be Itchy coming on through here with the dredge line. Sinibu going to be forced to flash away. It was VGU catching SDC, by the way. They answered that question for me pretty quickly.
Yep. And that's something that I look at, again, they're playing really well. They have nice cages coming out. They're getting those good flashes out of Itchy Rat, so that way he is able to, again, lock people down. And this is where I liked a lot of this hard CC layering that you have from this team, because you can get double bombs going. You get the stun coming out from Zohair. You have a big cage coming out from Arc, as well as Itchy Rat just being able to stay on top of people with Wild Terry. So it's just something that whenever it comes to fights and all 5 are there, it's just like scary. Like I wouldn't even go for it because of the fact, again, it's bump count.
Turtle caught on out once again, gonna be forced to flash out of the event horizon. Arch continues to put himself in positions to land event horizons. And, you know, even if you don't get the stun portion, you've got Nautilus there to make up the difference. You know, he's got dredge line. It's the width of a truck. Nobody's going to be able to avoid that while they're stuck standing inside of the event horizon. And so they're forced to flash whether you hit the stun or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you have to make that mental call of, like, is it worth just dying here, or do I just expend my flash? And I'd rather expend the flash almost always, every single time with that. But we're going to see Rich Herald now does decide to go over to VGU here. Hopefully they can put it somewhere. Oh, white screen. Did it hit him there? Interesting.
Yeah, throwing on out. Does have the reduced cooldown now from the upgrade, I believe. Blasting Wand plus Lost Chapter plus Amp Tome does get you over that threshold. But still not really having the beefy damage to back it on up. The Muramana upgrade hasn't come on through yet. So just going to be chunking out some damage, but not going to have the tools with the rest of the team or with himself to really be able to dive on in and convert them into anything. Still 0 deaths on the board for VGU.
Yeah. This is where I look at the rotations have been very well. With those TPs, they're able to kind of get around the map very easily. They've been taking what they need to at the same time, so they are just, again, rotating very well here. Looks like they're probably going to pop this rift, I'm guessing, in this mid lane here. And so here is waiting around here with quality. But yeah, I would say they're going to rotate here and get possibly the 2 mid turrets, as we know Drake's is still going to be a while. It's going to be up in a minute 30. Baron just came up right now, so really they're going to prioritize that last Drake to get that Ocean Soul here.
Ooh, quality player. The nice call out there, but not quite in range to get the snare onto Capanese. And now, hanging out in the bottom lane is Zoer. He is still hanging on to this Rift Herald. I think he wants to throw it down closer to the Dragon spawn to try to kind of break the focus of SDC and make sure that they're not going to be able to contest this soul very effectively. They're already going to have trouble contesting it effectively, down 4k gold, but now looking to punish even harder. They've set down so much vision on this bottom side of the map. They're playing this whole game plan around getting themselves the Dragon's Soul. Looks like they're going to be able to execute that one successfully. One more reset coming on through, getting more wards to the pocket of Itchy Rat, getting a couple more items on through for Wild Terry. And they are going to be ready and raring to take what should be a game-determining fight here in the bottom lane.
Exactly. I mean, they are just, again, excelling very well right now. Terry definitely is getting a lot of good items. Kind of a little mix of things in the meantime while he's waiting for potentially getting, I'm assuming, with that's Wit's End there. So once he has that, he's definitely going to be able to shred not only through Rari, but able to burst down a lot of the team here. So really excited to see when he kind of gets some on-hit going off for himself, as well as Itchy.
Oh, hook from Itchy, not going to land, going to end up Spider-Manning himself in the middle of everybody. Only gets chunked to about 2/3 of his HP for his troubles, though, so not going to be punished too harshly. Now, looking to fight over that vision, the Rift Herald does get thrown down in the mid lane. Capanese is there to respond to it, but it's going to charge anyway, and with Capanese there responding, they feel confident to go in and try to start up this dragon. They're going to pull it on out, making it more difficult for VGU to be able to respond, or for SDC to respond, rather. Cine is over just a little bit early, is going to be forced to ultimate back over the wall. Now not going to be able to contest for this dragon, doesn't have access to the flash. Itchy is pretty low, but has the backup of his teammates. And Cine going to walk on up, going to try to contest for the Dragon Soul. Not going to be able to get it, though. Soul going on over to the side of VGU, but Itchy has already fallen on down. Quality player going to be forced to resurrect himself. Rari has teleported on in. Quality just trying to get himself out of dodge. Turdy, though, is coming on in, is diving forward. He's trying to get some damage there on to the carry. So far, hasn't finished off either one. As Quality player finally going to fall on down. Hook comes through onto Arch, and Arch is the next target. He's going to flash away. Terry now back on in, looking to try to get himself a Counter-Strike Sun. So far, hasn't been able to do so. That's going to be Rari, stuck in the middle of the event horizon, but he's pretty tanky and can just keep tanking it on up. Ultimate comes on through onto Rari just to try to chunk this Mundo out. Terry finally finds his way onto a target and finishes off onto Zeri, and this Ocean Soul is regenerating the health bars of VGU the whole way through. They're all nearly topped on off. Ends up being a 1-for-2 in favor of the SDC death cards, but for Dragon Soul, VGU will take that every day.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something to see. Like, I don't care how much I sacrifice, essentially, for Ocean Soul. If I get Ocean Soul, like, that's going to be staying around for a long time. It's not like Baron, where I feel like, okay, I went for Baron, I lose 3 people. Now I only have 2 people to help push in if it's just my support, and my bot laner, they're going to be together anyways. So it's really going to be detrimental there for them. But this is where, again, they are taking this Baron pretty much with ease, no problem. Looks like they might try to contest, but honestly, they're not going to get there in time.
Nope, absolutely not. That is going to be a big purple worm going over to the side of VGU. Yet another epic monster on the board here, and now they are looking to chase down and maybe make a pick onto Cine. Event Horizon not going to land. He will be able to escape, but another big buff, another big influx of gold coming on through for VGU, and with that Ocean Soul as well, it is just so hard for them to win these fights. Hook comes on across, is going to land onto Itchy, but they just don't have the damage. They can land a whole bunch of Void Seekers, but they can't work their way through Itchy's whole health bar.
Well, and the thing where, with this kind of poke of a team, it's really reliant on the fact that they get a lot more on the scaling. The Zeri being down as far as she is really kind of unfortunate. The fact that we really haven't seen Dreadman kind of pop off yet by going for this option of the Void Seeker style of Kaisa really hasn't been able to do much. So the fact that those aren't really helping, the fact that Cine Boo is just not able to really make them feel that pain of having the, dragon form, dragon breath going out, where again it just pops people, gets a good chunk out, has that burning damage going over and over, and it's just kind of unfortunate there for death cards, because if they can potentially get that going, it'll be really well for them. But we can say this, at least they do have 2 kills, so good job by them.
They do. You can't take that away from them.
Nope.
That's on the scoreboard forever. No perfect game for the side of VGU, at least this time around. They lost the turret already anyway, but this is going to be an engage coming through out of Cinebu. The Chain CC is actually so strong here, he can't move for forever. Zohair going to fall on down, but he's got the Chrono Shift to respawn. Rary already popping the ultimate, so they aren't going to focus on him at all. And Terry coming around the backside, kind of 1 versus 5 right now, but he also doesn't really care. He's tanking it all up with Grandmaster's Challenge pretty effectively. Japanese chasing down on a quality player, knows that he doesn't have the ultimate left available, but Zohair going to be able to finish him off and goes unstoppable. 2 kills go over to VGU. Itchy lands another impossible dredge line onto Cine, keeps the pressure on. Zohair chasing away as the Zeri here, as the base finally going to be broken open for VGU.
Yeah, VGU, I mean, they're just performing very well here. Again, this Ocean Soul is kind of helping them a lot, and the fact that they have Baron, they're able to kind of push through a lot of the lanes here.
Oh, no, that's a dead Turtle. Turtle cannot survive the full Vygar combo. No ultimate required. Another hook comes through from Itchy Rat, and I think this one is over. Gigatron, VGU, with a dominant performance in game number 1, are going to get themselves off to a 1-0 start in tonight's series.
Yeah, over 250 stacks in that passive there for Arch. Just great job by him, able to, again, layer out, getting the cage out. He's getting damage across the board there. Had really good CS throughout the game there. And even though that Zeri did get punished a lot, they ended out with the same CS, which is really kind of interesting from that aspect, that they're still getting the same CS, but aren't really performing that well with that Zeri there for Japanese. But again, great job by Virtue Gaming. They were able to do so much. That bot lane was crazy. You had Jax, again, here, Wild Terry. Didn't need to really put in a reverse, just because of the fact that he was going full forward, able to do so much, and it's crazy good that the Jax actually worked as a good pick into the window there.
Yeah, no, and a great performance from the bottom lane of VGU, especially Arch and Itchy Rat. The duo of the Vygar Nautilus ends up working out super well in this lane. You know, you can just keep locking people down in the Event Horizon, landed some 6 stuns there to get kills early on, and then just kept turning them into more and more and more. And meanwhile, you know, Zohair and Quality player had a little bit of a quieter early game, but they played it out effectively. Quality not falling behind in CS, even as this weak early game Zillion was able to come on through, was able to land some great resurrects in mid-game fights to be able to keep the team ahead, to not give over any of those shutdowns, and to still be strong, backing up these dragons, getting that Ocean Soul, getting the Baron, and eventually just finishing off the game. Very clean performance there from VGU, and one that really is going to need a dramatic answer from the SDC Death Cards. Does not feel good to lose a game like that in a best-of-3 series. It's going to be very tough for them to bounce back. Let's see what they have in store. We're going to throw it to a quick break while we get into draft for game number 2. We're going to be right back, see what the SDC Death Cards are going to pull out of their pockets to try to stay alive here in the ADL.
Everybody panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Defenders League play-in stage. We are right back into draft for VGU, now on the blue side, taking on the SDC Death Cards on the red. And VGU, they had a fantastic game number one there, Gigatron. Very close to being deathless. They gave up 2 in around their fight for Dragon Soul, but other than that, you know, pretty close to a flawless game from them. Really had their game plan work out exactly as they drew it up. Really curious to see how the Death Cards are going to be able to respond here.
Yeah, when you have that like slight movement, slight CC, slight we're just gonna be everywhere and kind of rotate well, like that's just one of those things that they just perform very well with it. Again, having a lot of TPs really does help getting you across the map. The fact that Jax is still able to dominate eventually in that top lane, even though it wasn't like a great matchup in the beginning, but then once he kind of got that, you know, love from Zohair there, he was able to go and just do a lot with it. So I think it's just really on the aspect of, again, they can play through Terry, they can play through Arch or Quality. It really doesn't matter who's being the carry at this point. It's just who do you want to have on weak side? Do you want Terry being on weak side, or do you want Arch being on weak side?
Yeah, little change in the bans here from VGU. They banned the Karma last game. They banned the Jarvan instead this time around. See if that ends up being their selection here on the blue side. But looks like no. Looks like they're going to lock in the Zilean first pick. You know, they're happy with how that pick went around last game. They said, hey, you picked Kaisa into this in game number 1, and we were able to scale up with our Zilean and dominate later on just fine. Let's see if you have a better answer this time around.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is are you able to get that scaling off that you want because of the fact that, again, Zilean is just be able to do so much. Okay, that's a pickup right there. That's a Silas. I love the fact that, one, you're going to have someone who can just hijack abilities. You might as well just top it off by picking the Viego. Just do it. You won't. But it's just one of those things that, hey, it doesn't matter at this point what else Virtue Gaming picks. He has really good options already there just with the Chrono Shift.
Yeah, and some real comfort for Capanese here as well on the Jinx. Didn't work out great on the Zeri last time around. It is available, but they decide they don't want to play into that Vygar Nautilus lane once again, as it is still available. So they're going to go for the Jinx instead. Jinx, probably a little bit of a better matchup up against the Vygar. Has a lot more range, can really space out that event horizon a lot more effectively. And in theory, the Silas a lot better into the Zilean as well. The hijacking away yourself a Chrono Shift always feels very good if you can make good use of it in the team fights, and can possibly take the fight to the Zilean as well early on. VGU, they're going to lock in their Viego again, so you do get to see your request, Gigatron, just on the wrong team. Now VGU looking to round on out of this first round. Do they want to get themselves a bot laner? Do they want to get themselves a support? Picking both solo laners feels a bit strange at this point in the game, but it looks like they are going to hover and lock in that Zeri in the bottom lane.
I did say that they won't do it, and they did it. So, because I had a feeling Virtue was going to pick that up right away after that, just because of the fact that, again, they performed very well again. That mid lane and jungle duo just work well together, and we're looking at that Zeri is being picked up, maybe to try to show some flair as to, you know, why Zeri didn't work around the first time compared to this time potentially going into the team. But we see a Zac pickup. Oh my.
Zinni has played this once this season already, is going to run it back on it now on this potential life or death game for the SDC Death Cards. They know they're up against this Viego, so they can assume that he's not going to be challenged in his early clear too hard. And, you know, once he gets a couple of points in that E, he's going to be a very threatening gank champion. You know, he can come from all sorts of weird angles. It's very, very difficult to ward him out. And, you know, he's a great engage tool as well. So like to see this coming on through from the SDC Death Cards. I think it's a good response into the Viego. They're going to need to back up with a little bit more damage from the other positions, but Silas and Jinx are a great start to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think those are much better changes around for them. I think that they can build potentially a better team that could go into them. And right now, with everything, I am liking what Death Cards are bringing out. It's just, I'm worried about the bans here, as we do see kind of some repeat bans of both the Malphite and the Aatrox here.
Yeah, Malphite and Aatrox, so seeing a run back of some of the early bans we saw last time around. It was a Silas ban for VGU last time, so they were keeping this pick in the back of their minds. This time it's just going to get locked in a little bit too soon for them to be able to ban it away. The other ban here was the Tryndamere for the SDC death cards previously. Instead, they're hovering the Yuumi, and they're going to lock that one on in. They do not want to deal with some sort of scaling enchanter bot lane with the Zeri, and instead are going to choose to take that cat off of the board.
Yeah, I mean, not that the cat is like that super strong. I mean, all it really is benefiting, if anything, is just Zeri and Viego based on what they've picked. But you know what, doesn't mean that Virtue doesn't come out with you know, like a wild Irelia, and then you pick the cat, and now it's like, try killing me now at this point because I just have way too much sustain and way too much damage. But not gonna be the case. And they decided to take out Vayne. Are you really worried about a Vayne top that much?
I mean, Rari's played it, so it's not out of nowhere. It's not unprecedented for the SDC death cards to play a Vayne top. But yeah, that is a spicy one. I mean, they can't ban the Sylas, so the ban that they used here last time around, they got to replace it with something. The Nautilus now going to be the lock-on in for the SDC death cards. They saw that work out really, really well for Itchy Rat last game. This time, Turtle going to choose to pick it on up for himself, pairing up with this Jinx. Now, knowing that you're up against Jinx Nautilus, let's see what VGU wants to go for. The Karma is still available if you want to go for any kind of Enchanter-style bottom lane who's going to do well into the Nautilus. Otherwise, you know, you could just play the Leona, you could play Standard, you can play something like the Braum and look to scale up later on. That's an Illaoi lock-in, though, for Wild Terry. So, Wild Terry, you know, with blind top lane, locks on in the Illaoi. That's something, you know, that's a reason to ban Vayne top, Gigatron. If that's not, I don't know what is.
I agree, and that's where I am looking at, you know what, the Illaoi will be able to do so much for the team. Just being able to, again, crash down with a tentacle, smack down with your totem there, the fact that you could just create more tentacles at different points, especially with your ultimate there, yeah, it's going to be really beneficial for them. But they also pick up the top catch, so I like this idea, especially with the Zeri, able to kind of pick up that Zeri if needed, and get her to safety, or be able to lock down someone, say, necessarily that Jinx or that Nautilus, you know, once stacks start going out from those tongue lickings coming out from Tom Catch there. But yeah, I like a lot of this comp coming out from Virtue, but ooh, Kennen.
Kennen action for Rari. I like to see it. It's going to be a new pick for him, one that he hasn't busted on out here in the ADL quite yet, but I like it into the Illaoi. It's a good ranged matchup. You know, like most matchups into the Illaoi, it's all about dodging that test of spirit. You know, Illaoi's kind of like a pseudo-hook champion. You don't really think of her like that, you know, like something like a Blitzcrank, something like a Nautilus, something like a Thresh, but she really is in a lot of ways. You know, it's really more about, and especially in lane, it's about avoiding that tentacle coming on out to test your spirit, to grab the ghost, to get a whole bunch of free damage on you. You know, back on release, you could fight her when she had your ghost, try to make it go away. They removed that mechanic, so now, once it's there, it just means she's going to be beating you all the harder once she gets those tentacle smashes on top or uses Leap of Faith. So really, a lot of laning against Illaoi is just about avoiding that tentacle coming on through to nab you and test your spirit as it is. If you could avoid that happening, especially as a ranged champion, you should have a pretty good time up against the Illaoi.
Yeah, and that's where... as I am someone who does love playing Illaoi too, it is kind of sad to see that there is a Kennen going against them, just because of the fact that you always kind of like melee matchups better, but doesn't mean you can't win that range matchup, because you know at certain points that they are going to have to stick out and try to get that CS, so that's where you could go for that trade of doing that test your spirit there, and be able to, again, just try to get as much poke out as possible. So the good thing about this is really good tentacle placement on the walls there will really help out, and then the fact that again, just be able to, like you said, just get those kind of like pseudo hooks out, able to get those stacks going, try to trade out as much as possible, which I think you can do with Kennen. Kennen's pretty squishy, so it's going to be really on their side there to make sure that, hey, they really don't, you know, give up any more opportunities for Illaoi to get ahead.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to deal with Illaoi from ahead here, and she's really tough to gank as well. You know, she just gets more tentacles, a more effective ultimate, more healing off the back of, you know, busting out that big gank attempt onto the Illaoi. Just gonna be turning right back around onto you. So they're going to avoid that, and they're really set up to scale super effectively here. I didn't even think about this, but the Alawi paired up with the Zillion, really good as well. You know, if you could just go for those flash leap of faith engages and trust that you're going to have a chrono shift to bail yourself out, you know, that's a source of a whole bunch of damage. That's a great way to chunk out a whole bunch of targets and set up for Arch to clean up on Zeri. Arch, off the back of a fantastic Vygar game in Game 1, now on what a lot would argue is a very, very strong champion in the meta in the form of this Zeri. Definitely going to be an exciting one to watch.
Definitely. It took the words out of my mouth. I literally was going to talk about the Zillion and the Alawi there. Just being able to, again, just do so much with that. But yeah, I'm really excited for, again, Arch to kind of perform again very well. And, you know, the Viego just being able to kind of help out all the lanes. It worked well last time, so why not use it again?
It did, and remember, you know, these teams, they played in the same group. They've played a best-of-3 against each other before. It was a 2-1 win for VGU. VGU now up 1-0 and feels super favored. I mean, that was such a dominant game number 1 that it's really hard to feel like SDC are in a great position here. But, you know, remembering, SDC has won a game against this squad before. They had a close series with them. They had very, very similar records, identical game records. So, SDC really going to have to dig deep and try to fight their way back in here if they want to make themselves a spot in the ADL playoffs. Otherwise, this is going to be the end of their run if they can't pull it back and win here with this draft in game number 2.
Yeah, this is where, again, it's going to be really reliant on, I think, Shredman and Japanese to kind of carry the game, just because Shredman will be able to, again, just take a lot away from this side here for Virtue Gaming, just because of the fact that, again, Hijack has actually like a whole lot of good options, I would say here, as well as
sure.
Yeah, exactly, and you get the Jinx rockets that should hopefully help out. So
yeah, looking forward to it. We're gonna throw it to a quick break here when we get loaded into draft for game number 2, but don't go anywhere. We're gonna be right back with more of the ADL play-ins. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast for the Aegis Defenders League. We have got VGU on the blue side looking to secure their spot in the playoffs by taking out the SDC death cards. SDC, of course, trying to avoid that. They'd like to keep their lives alive. They'd like to get themselves into the playoffs as well. But after game number 1, looking like it is going to be a rough uphill battle. Have to win 2 in a row in order to make their way into that event. Now, starting on off with a pretty safe spread at level 1, not going for any of those Nautilus shenanigans like we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, no shenanigans, and I think that's perfectly fine, just because you look at, as much as it was a good idea, it's probably just better just to be safe, float around in the air there as you're just hovering around your anchor, but it's one of those things that, Jesus,
there's a lot of
excessive pings. Watch.
Yeah, somebody's having a good time with the ping feature there. Actually, 2 people are, I think, because maybe it's just one player on blue team is spamming those pings. Maybe it's 2. Who's really to say? But somebody's, really making sure that they're communicating with their team there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's fine. So, just gotta have good communication. Otherwise, I mean, how else are they gonna get around this map so quickly like they did last time? But yeah, it looks like Itchy Rat gets a good tongue lash out.
Yeah, just gonna be camping out in this middle brush the way that he was like all of last game. Definitely what he's gonna be looking to do here to get some good tongue lashes on out. He's gonna get hooked by Turtle, but has the Guardian, gets a big shield, avoids most of the damage coming on through. He doesn't have thick skin yet, so he's not gonna shrug off the damage quite as effectively as he will a little bit later on in the lane. Meanwhile, Quality player, he's going to look to just scale up. Arch is going to be looking to do the same. This is a Wild Terry game early on, so I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that top lane, and if Zohair is going to try to path his way up there.
I feel like he will eventually, with the start of going towards that bot side, I feel like bot side is going to get the gank first, potentially here. Just because of the fact that you are keeping Shredded Man here pushed in. So unless that City Woo is going to go gank that mid lane, I feel like they are just going to have probably the gank come top side for City Woo and then bot side for Zohair.
Yeah, I mean, City Woo definitely going to want to get Rari ahead here. This is the counter pick into the Alawi. You definitely want to be set up to where you can continue to abuse that range advantage in order to have a realistic chance to really fight off against this champion. She is very, very powerful in the one-on-one when isolated. Might even go for the Hull Breaker. I know it's an option that Alawis do go for in the current meta. Depends on if Terry intends to group up and team fight or if he intends to split push more. Grouping up and team fighting plays into the plan that the death cards have a little bit, but it also is something that you're really well set up to do yourself. You've got the Zillion ultimate, so you feel like you want to dive on in the middle of everybody and make use of that chrono shift.
Exactly. Shredman is just doing a lot of trade damage here for, I think, really back onto himself.
Yeah, that's the benefit of playing the Silas into the Zillion, especially if you dodge those bombs using Abscond Abduct. There's really nothing Zillion has left to do other than just kind of sit there and watch you wail on him. And that's what we saw happen there with Shredman. One bomb misses. It's like, okay, well, you can't stun me now, and your damage is capped at 1 bomb. So I'm just going to go all in here, and I'm going to trade with you aggressively, and I will win that trade pretty much no matter what.
Sunnybu's charging up for that slingshot.
Going on a Quality player. The movement speed, though, the fancy feet there from that Time Winder. Gonna really get himself out of there. Gonna avoid any of the skill shots landing and gonna be able to just keep laning just fine.
Yeah, and that's where it's really good by them, just because of the fact that, hey, you know what? Use the move with speed. Something's fishy that he's kind of playing a certain way. Is here? Is already cut out?
Yeah.
Respond out.
Trying to make a play happen onto Shredman there. Doesn't manage to land the stun. This is part of why the Silas is so good. You got a low cooldown, little jump dash move, and now it's pretty much impossible to land bombs on you. Yeah, see, there he goes. You just can't land him, although he does land the Abduct. Maybe one that he prefers he didn't, because now he's taking a whole bunch of additional damage. Flash in for Quality player. First blood to the Zillion will be traded back on as he takes just a little bit too much damage from the turret. That's going to be an early gold lead over to VGU, and all these minions are just going to waste here.
Yeah, and it's really sad to see that Treadman isn't able to kind of capitalize on that, or the fact that City Boo is there now to make sure that there is XP getting at least over to someone, but still gonna be sad that it's not going on a Treadman. But Terry's still playing pretty well up here into Rari. Rari still getting that poke damage. Really not getting too much out of it yet, but she is 6 now.
Yeah, and he sees Cineboo farming up mid lane too, so Terry's just unleashed. Terry can just shove this wave in all day long, start wailing away on that turret, already has the first plate down to about half HP, can deny Rari CS under the turret, can smack him with some more tentacles while he tries to clear these away, and there he goes. He gets the Test of Spirit landed as well. This is going to be a nice damage trade there onto Rari, and going to get a big slow out of it as well. It's going to make him think twice before he wants to come back in and mess with Terry for a little while.
Exactly, and that's where, again, if he is going to, is going to need to have the help of Zinnibu here. Zinnibu is definitely pathing up to this top side.
Yeah, but look at the vision. This is ironclad from Terry. There's nowhere Zinnibu can come in at this point. There's a ward in the Tri-Brush. There's a pink in the river. You're gonna know from a million miles away that this Zac is coming. Now, this is the one path that kind of does work, is he's coming in from behind the turret, so he is going to manage to land that stun. Here comes the Leap of Faith, trying to reach in back up, but just a little bit too little, a little bit too late. Rari ends up picking up that kill and getting another one over to the side of the SDC Death Cards. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, another fight is breaking on out here. It is going in favor of the Death Cards as well. Japanese just a little bit stronger early on this Jinx, getting good trades off.
Yeah, I mean, this is where, quality is still going pretty low here.
Quality really putting a lot of eggs in his ability to dodge skills with a whole bunch of movement speed, and of course having the chrono shift. You know, he just rises back up. He basically gets a recall off of that, regens back up to full HP, and is ready and raring to keep going. But he's doing a great job of using the Time Warp movement speed to just avoid all the damage that Treadman can put out.
Yeah, and that's no problem at all. Again, movement speed's always nice. The fact that, again, you know, you're taking that quality time to make sure that you have that, you know, chrono shift always up, able to kind of keep that movement going. Maybe throw that extra bomb out to kind of make Shredman overcommit maybe that a little bit more. So, and get a trade off on that. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of that out of quality there. But yeah, again, just good job by Zohair here, gets that first streak, and we'll see a bomb trade in the mid.
No. Good Drake going on over to the side of VGU, knowing that it is going to be Cineboo hanging out on the other side of the map. He's not going to be able to do anything about this. Zohair sees this recall coming through from Shredman. They're trying to make the play happen. Double stun comes on through, and Shredman going to steal away the chrono shift just in time and regen him back on up. Cineboo is just continuing to farm his jungle. He knows he can't get his mid laner out of this, and so Zohair going to be able to pick up that kill, and now chasing down onto Cineboo as well. Zohair is not slowing down. He's throwing down the Heartbreaker. He's getting another reset, and Cineboo thrown into the Cell Division will end up going on down here. Doesn't resurrect in time. Zohair double kill there in the mid lane.
He does resurrect, but there's definitely someone else that's up.
As now Terry going on through onto Rari. Rari not quite going to go on down there, though. A little bit too high on HP. Itchy Rat falling down as well. We're fighting all over the map here, Gigatron. Is Turtle going to be able to pick up that kill? Arch goes back over the wall with his support already down, and he's going to be forced to flash back out the way he came, but Turtle chasing him down. Gets another kill picked up for Japanese there. Double kill to the SDC Death Cards in the bottom lane. They keep themselves competitive.
Yeah, it's a whole different pace, I feel like, this time around. Okay, you got a good kill on a Terry early on. You're able to kind of stay far back, so this way you're not really losing much. Again, they're able to easily hit tentacles, no problem.
Yeah, quality player, once again, using a Time Winder, using his own minions to dodge out on Shredman's damage, and ending up with a pretty even trade there. Lands another bomb. That's a 1 trade now for the Zillion. Doing great in this lane still. Every time we look over here, Shredman is going in for what are usually trades that favor the Silas, and somehow quality player, he just outplays it. He dodges too many skill shots, and he wins.
Yeah, it's a kind of detrimental thing of that is, like, you talk about yourself. You have the abscond abduct, where, like, you're able to kind of get around that a little bit easier around the Zillion, but then you have Zillion who's just like, hey, I could do the same thing for a little less of a cost, with a time winder. So really nice that Quality is able to, again, kind of keep that happy feet going for himself.
Yeah, Cinny Boo looking in mid lane though. Turtle is here as well, clearing out some vision. The lockdown on a Quality player would make it really tough to get out, but he dodges the abduct once again. Now it's a 3v3 in the mid lane. The engage tool's already down for the side of the death cards. They aren't going to go any farther. Quality player already chunked out a little bit low. And they're going to get away from another Shredman forced to blow the flash.
Yeah, I mean, Turtle, I'm surprised didn't try to go in for something, or same thing with Cinny Boo, just because of the fact that you had, I feel like, a really good angle there. If you had just the hook come onto him, as well as the slingshot come out, it really wouldn't have hurt them that much, because you would have gotten knock up, a stun, would have gotten a lot of going for himself. So I don't know. Guess they didn't want to take the risk.
Yeah, for sure here. And strong winning lanes in both solo lanes here for the side of VGU. Really unexpected in the mid lane, but nearly a 20 CS lead nonetheless, as there's an engage going through in the bottom lane. Itchy not going to land the knockup on anybody. It's a 3v3. Cinny Boo gets the drop on him, gets a nice let's bounce on across on everybody, but can't dive any farther. Super Mega Death Rocket knocks Zoair incredibly low. Cinny Boo looking to chase on down. Not going to be able to get in range to land the stretching strikes, though. Will be a successful disengage from the VGU side. They're calling on down Quality players. Shredman's already on his way as well, but looks like this fight's already over, and there's going to be no kills coming from it.
Yeah, no kills needed. I mean, just looking at the fact that, hey, they're just trying to trade, do as much as possible, potentially get some turret plates here on this bot side with those rockets, but yeah, Rory still staying calm. No issues. Quality.
Shredman has not landed like one of these abducts. Quality player is just too fast with the time warps. Keeps dodging, keeps the fancy feet alive. I keep talking about it every time it happens, but it's because it happens every time Gigatron. I mean, I can't keep... Every time it becomes more and more noteworthy because he literally never lands them. It's just Quality player's too fast.
I mean, he is a quality player. But that's where, again, he is just... Again, realizing, like, the movement's also a Shredman. Like, ooh.
Alright, nice little knock up there from Cinny. Going to land that stretching strikes as well. Pulls Quality player back on in, but there's no real backup. And Dragon number 2, it's on the board, and that means Zoair is heading straight for it. This is about to become 6 dragons going on over in a row in this series to the side of VGU. A little bit late, but they are here to contest from the side of the death cards. They're going to catch on out this top catch. They're going to claim that kill easily. They're going to grab that dragon and back away on the side of VGU. They know that this fight is already over.
Yeah, I mean, the whole main goal was just, hey, you know, let's deny the Drake, make sure they don't get it, kind of keep this momentum going for themselves. And yeah, they're doing really well with it. They're only up about 700 gold, which is still good for them. But the fact that you're already giving up, you know, more kills than you did last time around. Ooh, pass switch.
Yeah, Zarch going on in here in a 1 versus 2. But has popped out that Lightning Rush, is looking to keep the chase on going. Not going to be able to make anything happen off the overcharge. Wild Terry is here watching that this Rift Herald is going on down. It is going to be a 3v3 on the top side. Zoair and Quality player are here. They are going to back away. There's just a little bit too much early skirmish power coming through from the Zillion. You know you're not going to be able to melt down one target. He's just going to get regen back on up. But Cinny Boo goes in for it anyway. He does manage to steal it away. That's going to be a big ultimate from Rari, getting big AoE damage on top of everybody. And Zoair going to end up going on down without the use of the Chrono Shift. But now it's Wild Terry with it on top of it. It's going to end up getting timed on out. And now Cinny Boo has one as well. That one's going to time out too. No Resurrects coming on through from this fight, but Cinny Boo going to get sent into the Cell Division. Terry, rather, should be able to finish this one on off. Shredman coming to try to run interference, but it's not going to happen. Tentacle Slam to finish on down that last little bloblet. Now the chase down onto Shredman. Terry is so fast here with the Time Warp, going to steal away with the Test of Spirit, going to pick on up the third of the fight. Killing spree goes to Wild Terry in the top lane.
Yeah, Wild Terry just... Again, performing very well here, has just been able to pretty much kind of just come back from that deficit of being down from that kill early, and now has not only the CS lead, but also has the KDA lead right now. And I love this, that you're able to still perform very well onto the Kennen here with this.
For For sure. I like that for quality player. He throws down the double bomb to get the blue buff, and then while the other bomb is still on Zoe, he speeds him up so he can use that bomb to do the crop faster. That doesn't matter at all, but it's that little optimization that I like to see in these sorts of games. That's going to be a pick onto Ichirat. That matters a lot more. Onto Turtle, rather, as he's got nowhere left to go. He's just locked down for too long from the bombs. Shut down. Goes over to quality player, and Turtle gets caught sleeping there. Flash up. Just a little bit too far up. Ends up going down.
I talk about it. The bombs, it's great. Efficient gaming. That's what we have here. It's like you're able to, one, take away just the buff you want. Two, you're able to, again, just speed up so that way you're helping out your jungler clear that a little bit faster. Three, the fact that, again, layering everything together, you're able just to stun when you need to. So, it looks like Terry is going to get this topside turret for himself here. So, won't be a first turret. It'll be first turret for themselves, but won't be first turret going to them. And he does opt to take that hull breaker.
Interestingly enough, first turret, both games now, has gone on over to the death cards. They got it in that last game as well through throwing Rift Herald down from Cinniboo in the top lane while he was isolated. They were losing a fight bot lane while that happened, but he did manage to secure himself the first turret gold as Terry is in a 1 versus 2 here, but he's kind of in his comfort zone there as the Alawi. He gets the Test of Spirit onto Cinniboo, chunks him to about half HP, is shrugging off lightning shurikens the whole way, and now just returns to his wave to keep on farming. He does not care that the jungler's here, but the rest of VGU certainly do. They know they have control over this bottom side as long as Zoair is in this part of the map.
Exactly. And it does get spotted out by the ward there on that red side, but looks at that where, you know what, they're trying to just keep their bot lanes here in the mid lane, see if they can push something out. But Wild Terry is, again, just coming out of this turret on the inside here. Ooh.
Lockdown once again coming forward onto Shredman. He cannot get out of the chain CC, and Zoair with the Heartbreaker picks himself up a kill in the bottom lane. This is going to be an all-in here from Rari, trying to just melt on through Terry's health bar, but Terry's health bar is just a little bit too big. There's going to be a big Super Mega Death Rocket landed that maybe takes his health a little bit lower than he wants it to be. Rari trying to chase it on down. Tentacle Slam to try to get a little bit of health back. He's got lots of tentacles backing him up along the running path, and with Lightning Rush down, I don't think Rari can make the rest of this collapse, although it is back up. He's looking to chase down, throws down a ward, trying to buy time is Wild Terry, but I don't know if he has a clean path out of this, but he finds it. He gets his way out. It's now going to be an engage coming through from Turtle, not going to land. Teleport channeled by Quality to rejoin the rest of the team. Finally, we're calming down a little bit here, Gigatron.
Yeah, he definitely, unfortunately, had to put a little bit of reverse there just because he bit off a little bit more than he could chew, but did great amount of damage to the turret there. I'll have to say that. Was able to tank through a lot of that because of that hull breaker. And yeah, is just able to just do so much for his team there with that. So I like the option that they are going for more of that split push, but we do see Dragon is up here. Looks like Zohair is going to want to try to start again, but we do see that Cinniboo and Shredman are right here.
Shredman steals away the Chrono Shift, probably the most useful ultimate he can find here. Now setting up for Dragon number 3. Will it be 7 dragons in a row going over to the side of VGU in this series? So far, it's looking like yes, but Cinny is here to try to contest. Cavanese going to throw out a couple of rockets there to try to get some damage onto Terry. The zoning is coming on through. Cinniboo dives in. Smite is successful for Zoair. That's going to be Soul Point picked up for VGU, and now the fight breaking out. There's going to be a huge Kennen ultimate on top of everybody, but look at Wild Terry. He's rampaging through off the back of that leap of faith. He's getting so much health back. He can't be stopped, and he's on a rampage as he finishes off on both Turtle and Rari, and nobody has gone on down from the side of VGU. The Alawi completely turns the fight on its head. The lockdown to save Arch from the double bomb, and nothing goes the way of the SDC death cards. They lose 3 members on top of the 3 dragons.
Yeah, this is where, again, just 7 dragons in a row between the 2 game series here so far, and the fact that, again, just able to command this game, especially with Wild Terry. Wild Terry, again, building up those Conqueror stacks, getting that big conk coming out from himself there, and is able to, again, just control this game because you have so much heal and sustain there. You're putting out so much damage. The fact that, again, they're grouping up so much really is just detrimental for death cards here. They really need to kind of keep that check going of like, hey, you know what? Where is this Wild Terry at? If Wild Terry's here, we need to put it in reverse. Because it's just the fact that, again, they're just able to do so much through him.
Yeah, and it looked like such a good fight too. The Lightning Maelstrom or whatever Cannon Ultimate is called was so good. It was so
Spicy
it was
Maelstrom.
covering onto so many members. Slicing Maelstrom, thank you. It was covering so many members. It was on top of like 4 people. It was doing so much damage. You know, the res had to come through from quality player onto, I think it was Arch, as the damage was just melting on through him too quickly. But that whole same time, there was an equally, if not more powerful AoE ultimate. It was just a little bit harder to see for Wild Terry. That Leap of Faith gets so many tentacles, regens him up so much, gets so much damage, it basically solos out 2 members of the SDC team.
Yeah, I mean, this is where, again, they're just able to do so much. And I gotta look at, they drafted very well with this, you know, picking a comp that really isn't going to be too set back from the hijack, you know, coming out from Shredman, just because there's only really a few good things that come out of it, but nothing more after that. It's not like every time he takes away Leap of Faith, that Leap of Faith is going to keep crashing down more because you don't have that harsh lesson. You don't have.
Ooh, that's a flash from Turtle. He's not getting caught this time. He's fallen for that one before. He's going to expend the flash to save his life this time around. Might be too little too late, but is going to be alive for the next engagement.
Exactly. And I guess that's the main goal. That's such a bomb.
Yeah, bombs coming on through. Bombs going to help them do the birds, at the very least, if it doesn't one-shot them, and it doesn't. But, yeah, tough situation there for Turtle, not being able to have access to that engage tool, as Terry is willing to just under-turret, throw down Test of Spirit, and beat up on a Ghost, because he knows Rary's going to take more damage out of it than he will.
Yeah, and just getting, again, great damage out on the turrets, too, just because, again, being that good split pusher there, you have that Gorge Raker to help yourself heal that little bit more. Again, you have that Hull Breaker, so now you're able to, again, just stay alive a little bit longer, able to break down these turrets pretty easily. And yeah, just he's playing this the way he needs to for Alawi. He was able to be that more of that patient laner, knowing that, hey, you know what, I can't get all these trades onto Rari here, but you know what, when I can, I'm going to get them and make it more punishing for him. And he's doing really well with it.
Yeah, you know, Terry's having his cake and eating it too here, because he's got the Hull Breaker to be impossibly strong in the side lane, and he's going to need it as he's in a 1 versus 3 here. Going to throw on down the Test of Spirit, lands it on. That's going to be a 4-man ultimate coming on through from the Leap of Faith, throwing on down with everybody here, going to be forcing at least one person in the Resurrect there. It is going to be that Zac, City Boo going on down. Zoair gets a solo kill in the mid lane, and Terry is still going with the Gore Drinker, the stolen away ultimate, but he's just regenning more and more with these tentacle slams. The ultimate ones have gone away, but there goes another harsh lesson, trying to stay alive, still staying alive. Reset from the Gore Drinker, still fighting 1 versus 4. Wild Terry regenning even more off of more and more tentacle slams, goes godlike and picks up another kill, and he's gonna make it 3. 1 versus 4. Terry does it all.
Oh my gosh. I mean, hey, knowing Wild Terry, I mean, that was a wild fight. I mean, it was just going back and forth, just trying to figure out who's really going to get these kills here. And the fact that, again, Terry was just able just to kind of sustain through everything, had those 4 good tentacles there coming out from the ultimate, and the fact that, again, Leap of Faith really definitely took a good Leap of Faith and helped them out there with those harsh lessons. So, but Wild Terry getting this turret here again.
He's doing it again. He's just throwing it right back down as soon as the Leap of Faith comes off a cooldown. Chunking City Boo out, finishing the bot lane turret. Okay, now you gotta leave, my man. Now there's the Jinx there. He does a lot more damage. All right. Quality player came on down, wanted to throw on down the Chrono Shift, wasn't able to. Okay, now maybe he's gonna die to Shred too. This is a little bit of an int, but holy crap, Terry, you can take a breather, man. Go back to the fountain for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. You did a really good job there, able to take out 3 out of the 4. Awesome job of making sure that you're getting the turrets there too, and the fact that, again, just bullying out City Boy. So really good job there again by him. I have to commend him again, where you don't always get to see that, I feel like, out of Alawi, especially when you're playing it in kind of like a team matchup like this. And we do have to talk about, yeah, they did get that Air Soul. So again, all 8 Drakes going over to Virtue here, and yeah, it's just crazy again to watch this game.
I mean, I'm still in shock. That's a tilter if I've ever seen one for the SDC death cards. By the way, if getting slammed in game 1 doesn't tilt you, getting 1v4'd by Wild Terry on the Alawi, that might tilt you a little bit. That's a rough one to have to deal with here, and really struggling now to try to make anything happen in this game. Cinnyboo is caught on the wrong side of the map. He is miles away from anybody. Itchy Rat is just taking him on in the one-on-one.
Yeah, and look at that.
Yeah, devouring him on down. I don't need to play-by-play this Gigatron. This is over. It's gonna be a solo kill for Itchy Rat. I can't believe it, man. It's just, they're just dominating in all the unlikeliest of scenarios. Their support is 1v1ing the jungler on the opposite side of the map with the whole rest of the team. Now Arch is in a team fight. He's going to get resurrected there by the Chrono Shift. There's going to be a Chrono Shift to res up the cannon at the same time, but the rest of the team is melting down around him, so it doesn't even matter. Zoe are going to go on a rampage as he finishes off that next kill, and that is going to be a, not quite ace, it's going to be a 4-for-0 in favor of VGU, and they're looking to stamp their ticket to the ADL playoffs. A dominant 2-0 performance here over the SDC death cards. We'll see. Cinnyboo is respawned. Will they be able to keep this fight going? Shredman's doing his best to distract them from the turrets. And 2 respawns have come on through, but there's at least 10 seconds to go on anybody who does any damage. And I think that means they can't stop them, Gigatron. They're going to melt right through Turtle. They're going to chase on down Cinnyboo to pad the stats a little bit. And this is going to be a big win for the VGU side.
Yeah, it's just, this is crazy. The fact that, again, they had a very commanding game 1, followed up by another commanding game 2. Gave a little bit more kills this time around, but you know what? That's fine. The fact that, again, they were able to still get 8 Drakes in a row, out of all things, was able to do that with a commanding finish too. So I love this game play that we've seen from Virtue Gaming here twice now, and Terry again just popped off that game. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, a fantastic game from the Alawi there in game number 2. A fantastic pair of Zillion games as well from a quality player. You know, not the most glamorous of champions, but one that really served a really important role in both of these games. Had some great ultimates off. We're not going to talk about that one fight in the top lane where he didn't ulti his jungler in time, and Zohair ended up dying, and then he threw ult on Terry, and Terry didn't get to resurrect off of it. We don't talk about that one. Other than that, flawless Zillion play. Really great performance there in lane, both games, as well as in those fights later on. And you know, an all-around fantastic performance for Virtue Gaming Unity. Everybody had some great moments in tonight's 2-0. And now I'm really excited to watch them in playoffs. I mean, you know, they were a middling team in the group stage, but they looked fantastic here tonight. And, you know, they've really stepped it on up here for the play-in stage.
Yeah, they stepped up, definitely. I mean, I had to look at it. It's definitely a good change of pace, too, because you saw Arch pop off last time around on that Vigar. And this time around, even with the Zeri, still was trying to do a lot for the team there. Again, this is where I feel like Zeri just scales really well, but wasn't needing it because, again, we got about 27 minutes here. Again, this was pretty much just a Terry game and quality player just showing that, hey, Fancy Feet works out where they're just able to, again, just move around, get themselves going, and, yeah, it's just a great job of watching quality player there, as well as Wild Terry, just big games around there. And so here, I can't forget about him. He performed very well again on the Viego. This is definitely a worthy ban, I feel like, against him. Yeah, no,
a pair of fantastic Viego games tonight for him as well. VGU coming out huge with some great drafts in both games there, as looks like Wild Terry's going to be joining us for an interview. We're going to pull him on through here in just a moment or two. But you know, hats off to the SDC Death Cards. They had themselves a good run here. They tried their best. They were in as one of the lower seeds, fighting for their very lives at the beginning of this playing stage. They won last week to stay alive and play against VGU. Just not quite going to make it to that play-in stage, though, or to that playoff stage. Going to call their ADL journey here. But we are now joined by a Wild Terry. congratulations on your win and your ticket to playoffs, my man. What's it like to 1v4 in the bottom lane in an important qualifier game like this?
I mean, it was just the pick, you know? Like, they have 4 AP, I'm playing Alawi, a lot of melees. It's just like the dream scenario, right? One damage type, and like I was telling my team the whole time, once we got that triple topside, I was like, alright, no one will ever be able to match me in split. They need Jinx, for sure. And if Jinx comes, we just get whatever we want on the map. So that was like the perfect example, because Quality didn't believe me, right? He was on the Zillion, and if you saw a bot before that play, he was hovering me, and then he saw it happen, and he was just like, oh man.
Yeah, you played it very well. I mean, just able to use that Gorge Raker a lot. The fact that you're getting all those slams down and just do so much with it. I mean, it was a great pick. I mean, even your game one, you played very well into the window there with the Jax. I mean, you're able to kind of bash down a little bit. You know, you had a few moments where you had to back it up, but other than that, you're just able to, again, kind of command these games. Is this kind of like your guys' style? You kind of play through you a little bit more, or do you guys like playing through Arch, which is the one you kind of guys like to favor more?
I think usually we play through Arch, but I mean, it doesn't mean like it doesn't mean
You
we can't play
get like
through
these.
top either. But yeah, usually it's through Arch. I mean, if you look at game one, right? I don't think I was the carry at all. I mean, look at my team, right? I was just
Yeah.
kind of fulfilling my role, just sitting in the side lane and pressuring the Mundo a bit. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome to hear. Well, you guys have, you had a tough group, right? You guys were, everybody was really, really neck and neck in the Ionia group. A lot of records that were very close to one another. Ended up coming out on top. Do you feel like you guys have improved substantially over the course of the season, or are a lot different of a team than you were earlier on? Because you played SDC Death Cards back in week 5, 1-2-1. It was a little bit of a closer series. This time around, it was really not a very close series at all, I would say. So what do you guys kind of chalk that up to?
We definitely have gotten better playing as a team over time. Because like if you look at our initial games, we played what was considered the weaker teams in our group, and we kind of lost to them. And then over time, we were playing the teams that were expected to beat us, and we were upsetting them. And I think one team it was pretty convincing fashion, but the other ones were 2-1s. But yeah, I mean the Alawi pick also it's funny because we played the Alawi one other time and it was only against this team. That's why we banned the Vayne. But even then, it was still a good pick, so I'm surprised they were not expecting it to happen again.
Yeah, when you banned the Vayne, I was like, why are you banning Vayne? And I'm like, oh, I had a funny feeling maybe this or what other thing was going to be coming out where you're just like, I just don't want to get peppered down by, Vayne with those silver bullets. So I definitely like, again, that you guys were able to kind of play the game a little bit more, have that, commanding presence with um, the Lowy there. But yeah, since you guys said you guys feel like you're growing better, obviously your goal is going to go to the finals and the playoffs, everything here at this point. What's your game plan for next week?
Well, we usually just take it a game at a time, focus on playing together better. Because honestly, if you look at most of our games, we do kind of tend to get early leads and then throw them away due to sometimes a small miscommunication or something. So we do think we're a lot stronger than our standings show. But as long as we shore up those weaknesses, we should be fine going forward.
Any particular teams you guys are looking to play? Anybody from your group? Anybody from the other group that's kind of caught your eye that you're hoping you end up getting seeded off against? You will be coming in as one of those lower 2 seeds, so probably gonna have to play up against one of those Team Ambition squads who are currently fighting it out for first seed.
There are 2 teams. One of them was Pograts, but they aren't, unfortunately. They are not there. So the other team is Moan Oneers. We know a couple people on that team, so it should be fun playing against them.
All right, awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us here tonight, Terry. We are gonna call it a night on the stream here pretty soon, but anybody you want to shout on out, anybody you want to give props to, anything you want to say to everybody at home before we close out the ADL for the week?
Sadrats, Mr. Pograts, man. Wish they were here with us.
Don't we all, my man? All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Terry. Appreciate it. Congratulations on your ticket to the playoffs. We're excited to see more of you and your squad coming into these next couple of weeks and getting into those best of fives. But that is going to do it for tonight's stream of the Aegis Defenders League. Thank you, everybody, for tuning on in. We'll be back for the rest of this week with more Aegis Leagues, and we will be back for the ADL playoffs, starting with the quarterfinals next week. From myself, Malcolm, and Gigatron, thank you all for tuning in, and have yourselves a great night.